And good evening, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and I am so honored and blessed to have on our show a guest who, if you watched the first season, was on many of the shows and is always a great guest. And somehow don't know how we missed having her on season 2, but we have her back now, and so we are so grateful. And I have to say, in all honesty, from my heart to yours, Catherine, I am so grateful and appreciative for you being up at 5 a.m. in the morning to come on this show, because everyone may not be aware, but she is coming to us live from Greece. So I am going to turn it over to the one, the only, super amazing, so awesome, magical to a T, Kathrine Dione Sorilos.
Hey, hello everybody. It's early in the morning. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. I love you. You know that very much. I love being on your show. I love having our conversations. We've got a few of my Greek friends here in Greece watching this early in the morning. There's a few of them on there saying hello. And Angelos is from Greece. So, so we might get a few Greek people watching the show.
I
It's
am honored. Wow.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since, no, well, I did catch a nap in the afternoon, like 7 o'clock till 12. And then I got up around about 12:30 and sort of, did a few things here and then grabbed a Greek coffee. And here I am, all done up.
We are so thankful.
Oh my God, it's amazing being on your show again. Thank you very much.
Well, we're always grateful when you come on and share with us everything. And I have to say, I enjoy our conversations too. And you're one of the few guests that I have that is always fun to have on, because the conversation will start somewhere and then we'll end up on some random topic. And not sure how we got there, but it's a fun ride.
It is, because we jump from one topic to another, to another, to another. So it's amazing. It is. It's amazing.
So what have you been up to since you were last on, like 2 years ago, surprisingly?
Okay. A year ago. Yeah, it's been a year now. It'll be going on to 2 years, I think. I joined HungerNights Paranormal Greece. I said to myself that I was never going to join another team, right? I'm going to be involved in the paranormal from a distance, and then I'm going to be doing like maybe some shows on TikTok or YouTube. And I had said that I will never join a team again. And then I met these amazing people, Nick and Raf and Chris and Alex and myself and my husband Steels. We decided to join the team, and since then we've been together. It's an amazing team. They're amazing people, amazing guys. We're more like a family than just a team. We're good friends and family as well. So we get together, we go out, we go to dinner, they come over the house. So, we're more than just a team.
That's really
And
cool. And
it's
yeah,
amazing.
and I know many paranormal investigators that are like, nope, I'm out or I'm done, not doing the
Yeah,
team thing anymore. And then, like, a few weeks or months later, like, okay, I'm back and I'm with this team now. It's like, yeah,
exactly.
once you get into it, it's hard to get out of.
It is because remember I was off not being in a team for a couple of years since 2022, and now I'm back doing investigations, but we've taken it to another level. It's not just paranormal investigations anymore. It's coming up and it's becoming abnormal. And you'll see it through the videos. And I will explain, the videos you're going to play, I will explain exactly what was going on while we were investigating.
Right. And I just want to preface, so the videos she sent us are from their investigation, so they are in Greek, but she was very nice and subtitled all the videos so we can understand what they're asking and everything. And I've watched a, she sent me three, and I watched a couple of them as they were uploading. And I was like, wow, this is really cool to see, actually. So you guys are in for a treat with these. And one of the videos is a little bit longer than the others, but it was like I was watching it going, what in the world?
Yeah,
And
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that because Nick does all the editing in all our videos. If you go on our YouTube channel on YouTube, like Hunger Nights Paranormal, all our videos are with English subtitles, and Nick does all the editing. He sits there for hours and does all the editing on his own.
I think it's
So he
really
does.
cool that you guys do the subtitling, because sometimes, I'm sorry, Google just does not translate remotely close to what's being said, and you can tell that it's like, so I have to say I appreciate you guys taking the time to put it in English for all of us who don't speak Greek.
Mm-hmm. It is. Actually, I'm doing the subtitles, so he's got me cornered, and I'm doing the subtitles. Amazing. So yeah, I'm doing the best I can actually.
Oh, you guys do amazing, and watching the videos, it's like, wow. And one of the videos I'm just going to share that I was watching was, it looked like one of the team members in like a hallway or a closet, and he's all by himself. And then all of a sudden, I'm assuming it's Catherine because it sounds like her voice comes out of the woodworks. And all of a sudden, you're like, wait, where did that voice come from? Oh, wait, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
So,
Oh,
thank
sweet.
you.
Thank you, Agelimo. Thank you.
So,
You have a
you
lovely.
are, yes.
Mhm.
So, we were talking before we got started. You are coming to America with your
I am.
team.
Yes, that's one of the videos, the long videos that I send you, the 5-minute video. We are invited. Actually, Candy Slater. You know Candy.
I know her by name, but I haven't been introduced yet.
She is my paracon sister. She's my best friend. She is my sister. Like I love her to death. She organizes the event together with Lisa. Lisa has the Rock Island Roadhouse, the old YMCA. She's got the building, the historical building, right? It's her own. And Candy is the event planner, and together with Sarah from Get Haunted, and they've got about 130 vendors that are coming. It's happening on the 4th of October till the 5th. And they've got some great people coming, some great paranormal investigators, great names, great vendors that are coming there. For instance, she invited me with the team to come over to the YMCA, to the Rocky, well, it's called the Rock Island Roadhouse now, but I usually call it the YMCA. So she invited me to go over. So we're going over with the team as VIP guests, and we are doing a paranormal investigation. We're going to have a table as well, and we're going to be doing paranormal investigation there, a VIP paranormal investigation together with Get Haunted, in collaboration with Get Haunted and War Party Paranormal.
Very
And there's going to
cool.
Hey, and there's going to be some great people there, great names. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing event. I think it's the second or third year that it's been happening, and to the point where Candy doesn't have any more room to put vendors in there. I mean, the building is so big, but there's about 130, 140 vendors, tables and people coming through for the event. And then after the event is over, because we're going to be staying in at Candy's house, the event will be over the next day. And as soon as we get organized and help Candy, to unpack and then repack everything, we're off to a road trip with Hunger Nights, the team, and we're going to be visiting a lot of places. We're going to be visiting the Monroe House, the Veliska Axe Murder House, Randolph. I think that's the jail. I'm not sure. Edinburgh Manor. Uh, we're going to the jail in Missouri. So we're going to different places.
Man, I'm a little jealous.
Or you can come and join us.
Well, if I can, I will. If not, I'll definitely try and make it next year.
True, true. Because we're going to be, we'll probably come back again and visit, you know, go down south a bit more.
Yeah, it is funny when you think about it. In Europe, everything is like a few hours away, and so everybody's like, "Oh, no big deal." Then you come to America, and it's like, yeah, most places, if you go a few hours, you're still in the same state that you started in.
I
So
know because Nick was looking at doing, investigating some places in Connecticut and Massachusetts, and he goes, "Oh, how far is it? It's not that far." And I'm like, "It's hours. It's days."
yeah, the
It's
Midwest to Massachusetts is like 2 days of travel.
exactly, exactly. So, oh my God. And I'm like, no, we can't go there. We've got to do another trip unless you want to stay longer.
I know, and even if you stay longer, it's like somehow the time just passes by, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta hurry. We don't have time to really soak this in if we're going to go to this place too. And it's like, it's amazing how in your mind you think, okay, we got a month, we can hit a lot of places, and you really can't. It's
No. It'll be over as soon as we get there. You know what I mean? Like we'll be traveling to, we've got about a 9, 10, 11 investigations. So by the time we get there, the jet lag, we do the Paracon, see a little bit of the States, just around the Midwest area where we're going to be. It's just time's going to fly like that, and we're going to be back home.
yeah, I know. And it's one of those things where it's like somebody was telling me, yeah, you're going on a road trip, so you're going to be well rested and everything. And I was like, well, yeah, but you don't understand that you're going and you're racing from place to place during the day, so you end exhausted and you wake up and you do it again. And so, yeah, you do almost need a day, even though you are short hours of doing this. You
I know
do
because
need
the
a day to recoup.
Yep, because when you're on a road trip doing investigations, everything is back to back. You grab something quick to eat and then boom, you're on the road again. Get a few hours of sleep and that's it.
Yeah. And I'm getting ready to do a road trip, and everyone has convinced me, and I'm not even sure how logistically I'm going to do this, but I'm going to still do my shows while on the road. And so it's like, I got to schedule that all as well and be like, yeah, so you're okay if we can do it this time, right? And try and wiggle some time. But it's also fun to talk to people and be like, so would you be like ready on a fly to, at a couple days notice, be willing to do this or that? And it's like, yeah, it's a lot to ask of people. And so it's like hard to logistically work everything out. But I think what's going to be the biggest challenge for me is I'm going to go on Rumble, because I have a channel there and they have a built-in studio, and I might utilize that studio to do like daily updates of what did we do today on the road trip, and
That's
what's coming out, where are we going next, or what's on the agenda. And so kind of do like little snippets of the road trip along the way. And it'll probably be good for me to do that because it'll allow me to keep track of where all we went.
exactly, exactly. You'll have it on video. Actually, we're
I
going to
don't
be doing some of our
know.
shows too. I have a show with Stelios every Friday. It's called Abnormal Talks, where I actually talk about everything that's abnormal and paranormal and metaphysical. So we talk about orbs, we talk about draconians, we talk about the watchers, we talk about witches, vampires, werewolves. So we grab a subject and we analyze it, and then we have questions and answers. So we'll be doing, every Friday we do that. So we'll be doing, while we're going to be in America, I'll be doing my show there as well. And then Nick, he does Sunday shows where he talks about what he does every Saturday. We upload our video of the investigation that we had done a week ago. So every Saturday he uploads a new investigation. So on Sundays he analyzes it. So we'll be doing a lot of our shows on the road as well, just like you.
Well, what's going to be interesting is, you know, are you going to have the Wi-Fi bandwidth on the road to
Probably.
process everything? And so it's like, yeah, are you going to be able to upload the investigation and be like, okay, here's, what happened? Or will it be, okay, so the hotel didn't have strong enough Wi-Fi, so I'll tell you and the video will come later?
I'll be probably running around the cornfields going, where's the Wi-Fi? Oh my God. It's gonna be amazing though. It's gonna be amazing. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
sounds like it'll be a really fun trip and going to a lot of the popular hotspots. And I know some of them, I have friends who have been there and they're like begging me to come up north to investigate them. And I'm like, yeah, traveling is not so easy right now. And
It
so,
is. It's hard. I've investigated the Monroe House. I have. So this is going to be my second time I'm going to be visiting the Monroe House. And the Rock Island Roadhouse. I've investigated that 3 times, so that's going to be my 4th time. So,
you're becoming a regular.
especially in that one.
Yeah. Well, we've kind of hinted towards the long video a couple times. Do you want to go ahead and want me to just show that one real quick?
Yep, go right ahead, hun.
All right, let me see if I can cue that one up. Okay, let me see if I remember how to do this. It's been a while since I've actually shared. So let's see if how awake and aware am I? Here we go. Let me see if I can do it this way. Okay. So no. I'll have to do it here in a second. I gotta time this just right, people. It wants me to open it as it's playing. So here we go.
There's no volume.
Oh, there's sound.
Oh, is that?
Are you not hearing the sound?
I am, sort of. Oh, there we go.
Hello guys.
Here I'm let's go. Get up. You know, you've got a trip to go to. You're very far away. So get your luggage and let's go.
You look full.
Addio.
Oh yeah, the gear packing.
That's actually and the other young guys run. Yes, it's actually makes designs here. So
October 4th, 2025, inside the Rock Island Roadhouse, Illinois. Get haunted together in collaboration with HungerNights Paranormal from Greece, and War Party Paranormal will be hosting the VIP investigation. What does this mean for you? Get Haunted is joined by some of your favorites in the paranormal community to give you different perspectives on techniques, practices, and more. Starting at 8 p.m., we will all come together and explore the stories that want to be told. inside one of Midwest's best locations. HungerNights Paranormal and War Party Paranormal and a few other surprises will be there for you to learn, to try, and to grow your investigative experience. Hunger Nights, Kathrine Sorilos, Nick Vambakakis, Stelios Varakos, Chris Pavlou, and Ralph Verzikianis. War Party Paranormal, Eric Vanderland, Michael Delco, and Francesca Garcia. Get Haunted, Robert Stackerwich, Sarah Jane Commission, Villani Danny Marie, and more. So grab your general admission ticket and your VIP investigation ticket for October 4th, Rock Island Roadhouse Esoteric Expo 2025, and get ready to change the way. But that's not where Hunger Nights Paranormal, ravenousness, and desire for investigation stops. Together with different collaborations in the USA, they will be investigating the Monroe House in Indiana, Villisca Axe Murder House, Iowa, Endeburg Manor, Iowa, Rock Island Roadhouse, Old YMCA, official Randolph County Asylum, thus Infirmary, Indiana, Jim Jones Boyhood Church, Indiana, the Malvern Manor, Iowa, Old Blackford County Jail, Indiana, General Asahel Stone Mansion, Indiana, and final, Missouri State Penitentiary. It is expected that by October, many new locations will be announced and more video teasers of new locations will be released. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I caught you talking, but I couldn't really hear you over the audio of the video. So,
Hi, Vicky Moo. Hello. Welcome.
so
That's
wow.
They're up early in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's another Greek friend. She's up early in the morning. Vicky. Hi, Vicky Moon. So yeah, so we're gonna be investigating a lot of those places. And I just said that the guy with the hat, that's Nick with the tattoos, and Ralph was the one with the beard. So he's gonna be at the investigation, and Steele's my husband, the one that walked in the door with me.
Very cool. And I gotta say, some of those places, those were the first time I heard of them. And so that's pretty cool that you're going to be going to some kind of unknown places or just not as known down here in the South, maybe.
Now, well, the Monroe House is a very famous place because it's where they found the human bones. Edinburgh Manor is very famous for, it was an asylum. A lot of, and then it became like a loony house. And the olden days, the men used to just leave the women there, women that used to not be crazy, but women that used to go through menopause and couldn't handle situations. They would leave. Families would go there with their children, women with their children that were abandoned by their husbands, widows. So there's a lot of history in the Edinburgh Manor. The Villisca Axe Murder House, we've all heard about the axe murders there, where they killed 6 I think it was 6 or 8 people. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it
So
was 8, but yeah.
I think it was 8. So there's gonna be quite a few amazing places that we're gonna be visiting. I mean, the Rock Island Roadhouse, it's got a history of being in the 1800s a brothel. And then don't forget, it's in Illinois where, all the mafia, the Greek mafia, the Italian mafia was there, and they used to go there. It used to be like a club where, men would go there and smoke the cigars and play cards. So, and then it became, like a youth hostel place. So there's a history there. There's a big history at the YMCA, at the Rock Island Roadhouse. So all those places have got a long history. They've got a mixed history of different occasions, different timelines. So you get cross-wired with different timelines. So you might be jumping in different loops, in time and space.
Sounds like you're going to be on the TARDIS.
True. Can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. I'm so looking forward to this trip.
It is, and what I find interesting is, like, I have a friend in New York who's like, oh, I'm done living here and I'm in the paranormal, where should I go next? And everyone keeps going, oh, come to this state. We have a lot of history. You'll fit in great here. And it's true, but Greece has like multiple layers of history, coming from the city states to unifying to world wars. I mean, global events that came through through the territory. And I can't help wonder, with all of that and all of the big historical events that happened in Greece, how does that, in your opinion, affect the paranormal side? Do you feel like Greece has several more different layers of hauntings, or is it all the same type of hauntings, just historically you can go back further?
Let me tell you something about this. Being in Greece and I think in Europe, right, and all the background history, the wars, like you said, the ancient times. The thing is, like, we can't investigate in the historical sites or the archaeological sites. The government won't allow us. Even like the places that we go and investigate, they're all abandoned, right? But there's some historical buildings that, private owners have them, or the government has them, and you can't investigate. So you can't learn the history. You can't grasp the paranormal side of things. You know what I mean? We can't. That's the hard part.
I wonder.
Yeah. That's the hard part. Sorry, and you can't investigate like we do in America. Like the good thing in America and Australia and the UK is that all places are owned, and you're actually allowed to go and investigate. And all the money goes into keeping those historical sites going and the reconstruction of those historical sites. And there's so many beautiful places here in Greece, and I think in the whole of Europe, where you can't go, and they're just falling apart, and it's a shame.
It is, and one thing that catches my interest in thinking is, like, say the Acropolis, for example. Everybody is like, oh, so much has happened there. So many people came to worship. Yes, you can't investigate in the in the Acropolis, but is there land nearby where you could say, hey, is there anyone from the Acropolis here? And maybe do
Exactly.
it that way.
Put it this way, we were at the Acropolis, right, last year because we had a tour. I had a tour actually from Mysterious Adventure Tours. You've heard of Mysterious Adventure Tours, right?
I did when I read your bio.
Okay, so now Grant Wilson came over last year in Greece, and Maria organizes these tours all over the world. So Grant Wilson came over, amazing person, and his wife Rihanna as well. And there were about 25 people that came onto this trip from America. And when we went to the Acropolis and a few other ancient places like Delos, where Apollo and Artemis was born, I said to everybody, let's take our shoes off. It's ancient ground. Let's ground ourselves here. And we had the people, the security people that were looking after the ancient site saying, please don't walk barefooted. Put your shoes back on. And I'm like, what? And then this other woman, I touched one of the ancient columns there in Delos. And she goes, one of the security guards comes up, very rude person, and she goes, can you not touch that? It's marble. I said, I'm sorry, I just want to grab the energy. And she goes, don't you know that you're not allowed to touch the marble? And I'm like, yes, sorry, I do apologize. I didn't know, but I just want to grasp the energy and feel the energy. And she goes, oh, what are you doing here? I said, we're doing paranormal investigations, we're doing metaphysical. She goes, oh, you're selling yourself really well. And I just looked at her and I went, what? I said, aren't you a fanatic Christian?
Orthodox, probably.
She was. She was. I said, aren't you a fanatic Orthodox Christian? I said, she goes, yeah, you're selling yourself really well. She goes, with all these ancient Greek energies and things like that and all that bullshit. And I went, and that's when I went, aren't you a fanatic one? So, yeah, there you go. So you come across those people. You do. They're very dogmatic here in Greece, and I think when it comes to the paranormal, because the church and the priests here, we call them we call the churches and the priests, a company. That's what they are, because they make money.
Right.
And they're very fanatic. So as soon as they see, you get the more open-minded people are becoming more open-minded here in Greece, and I think in the whole Europe. But there's some people that, they're still like that. They've got, they're closed-minded.
Which, admittedly, I find very strange because Greece is built literally on the paranormal.
Exactly.
That would be like going to Congress and saying, yes, this is where the Republic exists, but there's no building, there's no government here. It's like, wait, how do you have this is where the government is, but no government.
Exactly. That's how it is. That's how it is here. That's how it is. Like we went to an investigation a couple of weeks ago to an ancient Greek cave, right? The cave of the god Pan and Apollo, up in Delphi, right? And it's where Delphi is the ancient ruins of Delphi. And as soon as we uploaded, because we were talking about the gods and the Greek gods, and we were getting feedback from the Greek gods, and because we were calling them gods, we got a couple of those, fanatic Christians coming online while watching the video saying, God is only one, and Jesus is God, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's kind of interesting when you say the cave was the worshiping of Pan and Apollo, because normally I don't think I've ever read in any of my mythologies where Pan and Apollo would be worshipped at the same place. Because
Well,
Pan is, so for people to understand, Pan is portrayed as kind of the satyr, where half goat, half man, playing the flute is how Americans view Pan. And
mhm.
Apollo is the god who's on the chariot that rules the skies.
Actually, Apollo is the god
The
of
sun.
music.
Or music, yeah.
Music, and they do say he's the sun, but we do have the god sun that's on his chariot, and draws in the sun and the rays of the sun, right? um I believe both gods are similar but different, because actually, Apollo is the father of Asclepios, which is the god of medicine, right? Now, Pan in Greek it's called Panas. Pan, as. So, Pan is everything in Greek. So, he's the god of everything, of the creation. That's why they call it the pantheon, for instance. So, he's the gods of God, of God. He's the god of gods.
That's
He's the god.
interesting because I always thought it was Kronos was the god of the gods, of the
No,
father of
actually,
the gods.
yeah. Well, Kronos was a Titan, and he was the father of Zeus. And then the title of Kronos, being the gods of God, the god of gods, he went to Zeus, his son, after Zeus won the war with the Titans.
Right.
And then Kronos was thrown into Tartarus. So, you know how he castrated his father? Kronos castrated his father. His father was the sky, Uranus. So, when Uranus and Ea, which is Earth, came together, they birthed the Titans. And one of the Titans was Kronos. And, he did what he did with his sister Rhea, right? And
Right.
they gave birth to the gods, the Greek gods. And so Kronos castrated his father, Uranus, and then Zeus did exactly the same thing and took the title of the god of the gods.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah,
curious,
Mhm.
when we talk about the Titans, we picture them being like 10 times bigger than the normal person. Like, you think of Atlas as holding up on his shoulders the entire planet. So these are
Mhm.
not the small gods that we're used to seeing. And then now we're talking about seeing giants, as being around. And I kind of wonder, were the Titans the same as the giants, or did the giants come after the Titans?
The Titans. So if you look at religion and history and all the religions around, the ancient religions and now the modern religions and the book of Enoch, um, the Titans that we had in Greece, plus the Vikings believed in the giants as well. Enoch calls them the sons of the angels, of the fallen angels, right? So he
Right.
calls them the Nephilims. The Nephilims was a product of humans and gods. Well, in the Bible, they say the fallen angels, but they're like They're made out of the same substance of God, the angels, apparently. So the Titans are exactly the same as the Giants, as exactly the same as the Nephilims. Just the name changes.
Okay. That kind of makes sense because, I mean, everybody uses the vernacular of their culture, and so we here in America, we don't have like titans. I mean, we have titans of industry, but that's a different term. So that's where I think we came up with the term giant, because
Exactly.
we were looking at something and somebody pointed out something interesting, and I'm curious your take of this, being with your culture and background is, so the average height of somebody in, like, say the 1600s to present is around 5'6", maybe is average. So when you see someone who's like 8 feet, you're going to call them a giant. When we
Exactly.
think of giants, though, we picture someone who's like 30 feet or 10 feet tall, and they could be just literally a foot taller than we are, and we'd go, wow, you're a giant.
Yeah, true. Don't forget the Greek gods and all the like the Celtic gods, the Viking gods. Don't forget the Greek gods like Zeus, Hera, Aphrodite. Well, not Aphrodite. Dimitra, Poseidon, Hades,
Hephaestus.
Hephaestus. No, Hephaestus is the son of Hera and Zeus. So you've got the Greek gods, right, which were brothers and sisters, which were descendants from Rhea and Kronos. Rhea and Kronos were titans. They gave birth to Zeus, Hera, Dimitra, Poseidon, and Hades, right? So they were titans again. And then those titans decided to have sex with mortal women and mortal men. And then that's where you get your demigods or the so-called Nephilims.
It's interesting because I've always seen portrayed the gods of, like, the Asgardian gods and the Greek gods and as being mortal. It's like they look just like we do, walk among us, and then go back to their home. And so it's interesting when you say Zeus was more Titan than, like, what we would consider God, because yeah, I envision someone who's walking around like, 5'5", 6 feet, just has the
He could
powers.
he could take as a god because as a titan, as a god because he was a god. He could take different shapes. He was a shapeshifter, so he would come in touch. He put it this way: Perseus, he was a demigod. Why? His mother was Danae, right? And then because she was so beautiful, and her father, the king, I can't remember his name. An old prophecy said that the child that's going to be born out of your daughter is going to kill you and take over the throne. So he locked up his daughter the night into a castle where nothing, not even the sunlight will come in. But Zeus found a way of coming in touch with her. So he became a golden rain and came through the roof and did the Immaculate Conception. Do you get this? Immaculate Conception. She was a virgin. There was a parthenogenesis, like Mother Mary and Christ.
Right.
We've got a lot of those here in Greece. So he came in touch with her. He shape-shifted into a golden rain, did the Immaculate Conception. She gave birth to Perseus. And we know how that story goes.
You know, it's
And he was,
interesting you talk about the dad having a prophecy of the son's going to kill the dad.
yeah.
There's a lot of that in Greece. Was that like just a story that people would tell to try and keep the kids in order, or
I
did
don't
they
know,
really
because
believe?
they did, because they would go to the oracle in Delphi, or the Doni, or the other oracles around Greece, and they would get the prophecies. Sometimes the prophecies would be a bit weird or not all there, because apparently the oracle will sit on the tripod and maybe smoke something weird, or the fumes coming from the earth. So the oracle will say some different prophecies, like words, and the high priests there will interpret them different and then hand it out to the person that would come for the prophecy. And, you know, it could be the right message, the wrong message, a mixed up message, a message with a riddle. So, yeah, a lot of that over there.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because like Percy is having that story, but for some reason Oedipus becomes the one that's most famous for it, and they even create a clinical term of the Oedipus Rex,
With a
was like
mother and a son. Yep.
to kill the father, and it was like, yeah. And the main thing about that story though that was interesting was the son never knew his dad, met him on the road, kills him by mistake, and finds the mother and doesn't know it's his mother, forms a relationship, and then it's revealed after they're married, goes, yeah, I gave birth to you, and the guy that you killed was your
Who's your
dad, and
father?
this was all foretold. And it'd be like, yeah, could you imagine that guy sitting there going, wait a minute, what? And
Exactly.
you could understand why he would gouge his eyes out and be like walking and alone, because it's like, how would you trust anything? Because that would be something major. Like,
And here in Greece, we've got a saying. We've got the syndrome of Electra, and the syndrome of Edepodas, right? Because when you see a son being very close to his mum and always listen to his mother, and and being weak towards his wife, we always say, you've got the syndrome of Edepodas, right? Or if the daughter's very clingy on her father and always says, my dad this, my dad that, my dad this, and always compares her husband or her boyfriend to her dad, always very causes problems in her dad's new relationship, or in her relationship. We always say she's got the syndrome of Electra. So yeah, we've got those sayings here.
yeah,
So yeah, it's fun.
we owe so much to Greece, and it's so funny. It's like people don't even realize. But one of the things that I think is just kind of humorous, and it's something that I don't even think people really understand, is Athens had democracy. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
really work. It worked for a while, but in the end, it didn't work. And Sparta had a democracy, more militaristic, but still, you could argue a form of. And everybody goes, well, because we took from Sparta and Athens and created our constitution, we must be a democracy. And we're like, actually, no. We're republic because we have a Senate and we have a
Exactly.
House of Representatives. And so it always like makes me laugh when I hear people going, oh, well, America, is the seat of democracy. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting because we're not even a democracy.
Oh well, I think
But
it's a word that everybody uses.
yeah, I think it's just easier to say than going, yeah, we're a democratic republic, or we're a constitutional monarchy, or we're, this or that. It's like, yeah, just say democracy. It's faster.
Exactly, and don't take down those fancy titles.
And I gotta say though, it is interesting when you look at how like Athens and all of the city states ran the democracy. It was like literally you could compare it to the Hunger Games because
True.
it would be a lottery, and if you drew the stone, you had to go do whatever was told of you, or you would be the leader. And so it's like, man, your whole fate is based on, do you get the white stone or the black stone?
Yep.
And it's like surprising how long that lasted, because you would think people would start to go, wait a minute, this isn't fair. Even though it
True.
was decided by pure luck, it's like, I don't want my future based on pure luck.
Exactly. Exactly. I know what you're saying exactly.
Yeah, and so that's where I feel like, with Marathon, and even I know some books call it the Battle of Athens, where it was fought in the sea, and I, for some reason, my mind is blanking on what sea is between. Isn't it the
Uh,
Aegean Sea between Persia and
the
Greece?
Battle of Salamis.
Yes, that, where the odds just were against them, and they ended up winning. And they're like, "Oh, the gods did this and the gods did that." It's like, it always is interesting to me how, because they had a better strategy and were able to use the land to their benefit, or the islands to their benefit, that they would always turn and say, "Oh, Poseidon helped us win the day." And it's
Yeah,
like nobody ever gave credence to the person who was in charge and said, "Wow, he had a great strategy. Way to go, dude." No, it's
they,
God
yeah,
saved us.
it's right. They really respected the gods in those days, and they would do, anything would happen, and they'll say the gods did it, and they would offer to the gods, and um, Odysseus, it took him 20 years to get back home to Ithaca, right? So it was like always contemplating with Poseidon, like it was always Poseidon's fault that he got lost in sea for 20 years.
Well, and what's interesting is like whenever there was a victory, it was like, "Oh, this God helped us win." But when there was a
Yeah,
loss, it was, that guy caused us to lose. It was
exactly,
like,
exactly.
what happened to the gods at this point? It's like, wait a minute. So we only are bring up the gods when we win? When we lose, it's humanity's fault.
True, true. Oh well, no, it's good. It's you get such a background, such a history. Um, you always wonder, is it mythology? Is it history? I call it history. I don't call it mythology. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right. They
Right.
say
Yeah,
every legend has an ounce of truth to it.
true. Very true. Very
So,
true. Do we have any questions?
so far, everyone's kind of, I think, being a little quiet and just enjoying the conversation with us. But I'm curious, if you could, as a paranormal investigator, investigate like Salamis, Marathon, Hell's Gates, where the mighty 300 Spartans made their mark in history. Which of those
Uh,
three would be your top to investigate, and why?
ooh, I think it will be at the to me, if I could, because we're not allowed to, because they're ancient places, right? And they're under the archaeological thing, where you're not supposed to investigate in those places. If I could, I think I would investigate the Battle of Thermopylae, where with Leonidas, with the 300s. I think that's where I would investigate. I mean,
Yeah,
Battle of South, okay, Battle of Marathon, yep. But I would investigate where Leonidas left his last breath.
yeah, because I'm really curious, and I would do the same because historically, I'm curious. Was it really a Greek who gave the Persians the back door, so to speak, to swing around and win the day, or what really did happen that the 300 fell? Could it be that they just got exhausted and just couldn't anymore, but the tale sounds better when somebody betrayed them? It's like,
Ah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Well, everybody says that it was Ephialtes that betrayed them because the being a military, um, being like Sparta, being more like military based, and the women and the men. If they used to say that, if a child was born and he was deformed or had some issues, this is what they say, they would throw them off the mountain of Gavas, right? They will throw the children off there. The women, they were so hard that if a child that was disabled and couldn't be in the war, because they were they were very, how do I explain it? We call it in Greek polemocharis, which means that they were war made. They were made for war. That, the clan of Sparta was made for war,
right.
and they, if a child was born and it was a weakling or, like I said, disabled, the story goes that the mother would actually take the child and throw it off the mountain of Gavas. The mother of Ephialtes, the one that betrayed Leonidas, she didn't have the heart to do it, so she hid her child. And we all know how the story goes, that he wanted to join the military. Leonidas said no, etc. So he betrayed his own clan.
Right. And I have to
And
admit, I'm kind of curious another front of they, it sounds great when you say 300 men stood their ground, but Spartan women could also fight and be in the
yes,
military. So I wonder at Thermopylae, the 300, were there women there as well, but they don't want to tell that story.
we don't know that. We don't know that for sure. But women would support their husband, but they wouldn't go to war. They were not allowed to actually participate in the Olympic Games, even watch the Olympic Games. It was a very, it was a man's world in that at that time.
It's interesting because I've read reports of during the naval battle after Thermopylae where they crushed the Persians. The Spartan fleet arrived, but a lot of the fleet was actually women. There were women on the ships fighting, and but nobody wants to really tell that story, and so
No, they don't. They don't. They don't want to put the women out there. They don't want to put the women out there that actually helped at the war. Even in the 1800s, 1821, after the independence of Greece from the Turks, there were a lot of women that fought in that war.
Yeah, it's kind of like an untold story, and that's why I would like to investigate some of these spots, is to go, okay, whose story has wrongfully never been told? We're here
Exactly.
to give you a voice.
I know, I would love to investigate, but like I said, we're not allowed to go into the
Right.
ancient ruins. Won't allow us. Maybe, you know what? Sometimes I feel that if you can connect remotely, if you're strong enough to connect, even if you're from a distance, right? You're in the area. Because, okay, they've closed up the areas, the ancient ruins, but, everywhere in Greece, every ancient person has walked through Athens, through Greece, through Sparta, everywhere, right? So they actually have the battlefield that, they've surrounded the battlefield and they say it's from here to there. But maybe it was a bit more further down or more further left or more further right. You don't know exactly where it happened. You're assuming that it happened there.
Right.
So I believe if you're in the area, because when I went to Thermopolis, I felt sick because there were places where they said that the battlefield happened here, and it's just empty space. It's out in the fields, right? So I walked through that, and then I started feeling queasy and sick, and I had taste of blood in my mouth. I had things like that. So even if you sit back just further away from the ancient ruins and remotely tap in, or remotely like sit there and do your investigation further away, and just have, being an empath or a sensitive or a psychic medium, and you tap into the area, I believe you will get results.
And I have an interesting possible deal for you, because you remote view
Yeah, I do.
and being a paranormal investigator. Could you remote view the battle and view it in the terms of a paranormal investigator and look and see, kind of peer into?
I believe I can. I believe that if I actually go there without any equipment, because I don't need equipment, I believe that a human person has got all the equipment on them. You know what I mean? They're on equipment on their own. You know what I mean? So we have all our clear senses. We have, you know, we can remote view. We have telepathy. So we have all those, elements. Um, I do believe that if I go into one of those places and actually sit there, I will probably be able to tap in, like actually concentrate and tap into the energy. I will get a good feedback. I will actually be able to maybe see the actual battle happening and see details. It's going to be a bit too much on me as a human, because I will probably feel every bit of it. It'll be exhausting. But I think, yeah, if I can tap in, I will actually get some results. Jumping back in time.
And it's interesting, like, in my mind, I'm thinking from your home, just resting, putting yourself in the zone, and focusing, like they say in remote viewing, is you focus on a target and
Mm-hmm.
see. But yeah, that would be a different level to actually go and sit in that space,
Exactly.
and they really couldn't stop you because all you're doing is sitting. You're not, you have, like you said, no equipment on you. So as far as I can tell, you're just sitting, maybe taking a nap, or just
Or doing something like that, and meditating and just taking down everything, taking all the information down. So I can remote view it from home. I can actually see, I'll probably, if I try, because I do remote viewing, and I can remote view the area and tap into it and get a good feedback. But I believe being in the actual place, I will actually feel more. I will feel the energy. I will jump back in time. I will get more information. Like I said, it was last year, I walked through the battlefield and I got sick. I tasted blood. I got queasy. I felt my blood boil, and it was weird. It was really weird. So I got emotional just by walking past it. So I don't know what I'll get if I tap into it being there, if I get more, or if I do it remotely from home. That's something I need to actually work on and actually see, what feedback I will get back on both occasions. I'll probably need to try both.
well, and what's interesting too is, like you said, they think it's in this spot, and you may do remote viewing and find out it's actually like what
Somewhere
we would
else.
say is like 300 yards to the left. They're just slightly off, or be like, no, it's like 5 kilometers up the beach.
And actually give them coordinates and let history be rewritten. Oh
Be
wow. It's
like,
gonna
yeah, we're worshiping at the wrong spot, people.
move a bit to the left and a bit to the right. You've got the statue wrong. So
Uh,
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what you can do in both accords, you know what I mean?
it is, and I've often wondered, with remote viewing, because some have said that, like, I've accidentally remote viewed, and I say accidentally because I have no training in it, and if I've done it, I don't know how I've done it, but it's interesting to think we can remote view time, and
Put it Mhm. Go on.
it's just interesting because it's like it makes you wonder, like, certain events in history, what really did happen. Should I remote view it and see, or would I be allowed to see, or are some events so historically written that no matter what you saw, you would get an inaccurate picture because that's what the event needs to be?
Let me tell you something here. We're made from frequency, right? We are frequency. Okay. So we have the inner knowledge, the ancient knowledge. I believe that every human being has got the knowledge and the ancient knowledge inside them, imprinted, not in their DNA, in the soul, in their actual substance. So this is just a vessel. This is what keeps us locked up. The body keeps the knowledge locked up. Everyday life keeps all that knowledge, all this ancient knowledge locked up, and won't allow us to connect to the ancient substance. So the knowledge is there, it's hidden, and it just needs the right time to be awakened. So, in other words, everybody can remote view. Everybody is telepathic. Everybody can do telekinesis. everybody can be a sensitive and an empath and a medium, and all those gifts are there. They're there, they're hidden, they're in our inner knowledge. We just need to connect with the substance.
I agree, and where I was going with it was thinking like going back and seeing Prometheus giving fire to man and being punished, like they say in the myths. Seeing was that an accurate story? Was that real? Would our filters,
Mm-hmm.
because of that story being so ingrained into us, would it skew the remote viewing of it to say, yes, this is what happened because we could not see beyond that filter? Or another example would be like the crucifixion. Did he really get crucified, or is that just a story? But
So
so much in world is based on that crucifixion moment. Would we be able to
mhm,
really see it?
I believe if you do go back in time and tap into that energy, tap your energy, because like I said, we're made out of energy. Tap your energy into that energy. Um, okay, so we have the history, and we have the stories that we've been told through school, through our family, from books that we've written. So all that is imprinted in our mind, in our conscience. That's imprinted in our DNA, okay? Because that's in our conscience. But what's imprinted in our subconscious, that's something different. So, in other words, if we tap into that energy and we see something that's not written, and together with, in combination of what's written, or you might get something different. Can you imagine trying to change history? What's going to happen? No one's going to believe us.
Right, that's what I mean. Is I wonder, would the remote view really show us, or would it say, because of the consequences, we're going to show you what you already know
I
because of
believe,
what it could cause?
now, I believe that if you tap in remotely into the timeline, you will get more information. You will. You'll get extra information. You'll get the information that you already know because it's in your conscience, right? So that's going to pop up straight away. And then something, as soon as you tap in and you connect, your subconscious will open and you'll be able to see further. And I believe, like, if you do something like that, you got to write it down. You got to keep it. I don't know if you're going to keep it to yourself or you're going to say it to the world or you're going to put it out there. But I believe that there's going to be people out there that are not going to believe us.
Well, then would we even believe it ourselves? That's the big
I,
question, is would our own filters block the image? Because we'd be like, no way, this never happened. And
and
it'd be
that's where you need
like,
to be open-minded and accept what you're seeing. Actually accept it. I mean, when you go to bed, all of a sudden, I don't know if you do, if it happens to you. To me, it happens, and I've heard it from a lot of different people, it happens to them as well. That when you go to bed, you start getting images of different people that you've never seen, conversations that you've never heard, places that you've never been. When you're in between sleeping and being awake in the REM state, hasn't that ever happened? Like you've closed your eyes and all of a sudden you're getting images of people thinking, who's that? Have I ever seen that person? Who are they? Why am I seeing this house? Why am I seeing this place? Why am I seeing this area? I've never been there. And it's not deja vu. It's not. You're actually tapping in. Your unconscious and your subconscious is actually tapping into another conscious.
It's interesting you say that because I have a friend who does a podcast show and she has a guest that was recently on. And when I saw her ad with that guest, it's like I was in shock because I was like, wait, I know this person.
There you
I've
go.
seen this person. I've talked to this person. But when I looked her up, I was like, I have never been where this person is. I have no earthly idea how I know her, but there's just something about her. When I see her talking, I'm like, my mind automatically is like, either I've seen this already or there's just, I can't explain, but it's like, it doesn't happen to me that often where I'll see someone and be like, whoa, wait a minute, and take a step back and be like, I know you. And so it's like surprising when it does.
Yeah, because you've got your straight timeline in this life. You've got your timeline, your everyday life. So that's your timeline. And then you sort of drift away from your timeline. It does like a little branch, and you see an image of that person. You connect through. So just say you've got your timeline like this, and there's a little branch just goes like that. And then in that branch, there's another small timeline where you've seen that person, maybe in a dream, maybe when you closed your eyes and you thought about different things, that image just popped up, that person popped up. And then all of a sudden, you go back into your timeline. That timeline that's went a bit off is still there, connected to your timeline, right? And then on your timeline, a couple of days later, that person pops up. Weird, eh? No.
I like how you say no. I'm like, yes, it is weird.
But that's
But
what happens. That's what
I love
happens.
that because that really makes sense of why we have this experience and everything. And my friend Derek, who comes on the show, says that's how he and his wife feel about me. Is like they've met me before somewhere, and probably have on different timelines doing stuff. So it'll be
Exactly.
interesting when we meet in person to be like, yeah, do we figure it out or keep the
Because
mystique?
look at that. Look at Derek now. He's got his timeline, right? And you've got your timeline. So out of his timeline, a little branch came through and connected to your timeline. And you were able to tap in, and he was able to tap into your timeline, into your life. And that's exactly what happens. And that's how you can see them connected like wires all over the place.
And before we get to the other two videos that you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
talking about remote viewing, Derek had a question for you and says, is it true when remote viewing you can be vulnerable from attacks from other remote viewer or entities?
Yes, you can be vulnerable. And that is why when you're remotely, because you're actually free and you're open and you're, your soul doesn't leave your body. There's a difference between doing remote viewing and astral projection and astral traveling. These three things are totally different from each other. So when you're projection is that you can be in two places at the same time. You're projecting like a projector. You're projecting your soul. You're projecting a part of you. And then when you're astral traveling, you're traveling into other dimensions and other places. But when you're actually remote viewing, your subconscious, and it's like your subconscious leaves your body. So if that makes sense. And you are open. Everything's open for attacking. Same thing happens when you're astral traveling, not so much as you're astral projecting. So you're vulnerable, you're open. So yes, other people remote viewing at the same time can attack you. They can. So you need to protect yourself when you're doing either one. Now, when you're astral traveling, your own body, your own mind, your own soul, your own self is actually protecting you, and you're protected by that, silver lining that connects your body with your etheric body. When you're projecting yourself. When you're astral projecting, you're actually projecting yourself. Remote viewing, you're more vulnerable. So yes, you need your protection I believe when you're actually remote viewing, you need more protection than anything else.
So that actually leads me to a couple of questions, and they're along the same lines, so maybe you can answer them together. Is if you're astral projecting, can you go anywhere, or do you only go where your soul has been? And the other question is, as a remote viewer, how do you protect yourself? What can you do?
As when you're projecting yourself, some people can actually project themselves. You got to be at other levels. You can project yourself into another dimension or another planet, or I'm just saying different places right now. You don't just project yourself into areas that or you've been, or houses or places. You can, if you're strong enough, you can actually project yourself into other dimensions, and they will see you, trust me.
Okay, because I was looking at it as like Nightcrawler. If you're familiar with Marvel characters, he can transport only if he has a frame of reference of where he's going. So I was viewing like astral of going, are we able to go, like you're saying, to another dimension or another world because we have a familiarity with it? Or can we go to somewhere new and be like, I've never been here and know how to get back?
It's like I said, you've got if you have being connected to the substance and being connected to energy and being connected to the ancient energy, you can go anywhere. You can project anywhere. You can travel anywhere.
That is very cool.
So remotely, how you protect yourself remotely? You can protect yourself remotely with a sigil, with a talisman, with people with a certain prayer. And I don't mean being dogmatic to God, or anything that makes you feel protected. You can make a circle of oh my god, I forgot the word. Noetikos. Hang on, let me just remember the word in English. In your mind, I would say you can make a
Like a
circle
third
around.
eye?
Yep. You can put salt in a circle. You can take chalk and put yourself into a circle, put to protect. You can put rope sit in the rope and protect yourself. So you need you need to be in an inner circle to protect yourself. You need to cleanse, if you're gonna if you're gonna do something like that, if you really, really want to take it from the beginning, you cleanse the area where you're gonna be sitting, right? You sit in your circle, you have your protection, and then you actually perform your remote viewing. But after a while, it becomes like a second thing for you. You know what I mean? You can actually close your eyes and go boom, and then remote view straight away.
Which brings up an interesting question. Like, energetically, if someone was to say to me, you need an amethyst, because I've held amethyst, I can go like this and say, okay, I have amethyst in my hand, even though I don't. I can feel the amethyst and feel it come in. Could I visualize a rope around and do it, the remote viewing and being protected, or do I really need the physical rope? Can the mind create?
You don't know. That's why I said you can actually do it with your mind. You don't need the actual physical rope. You can you can visualize that there's rope around you, that there's a white light around you, surrounding you in a circle, and you're actually sitting in there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that right, because I didn't want to go in my mind and go, okay, yeah, I'll do that, and then it's like, go to you and say, this didn't work, and you're like, no, you misunderstood what I was saying, so I wanted to make sure I understood it and was like on the same page.
It does work. It does work. But when you have the physical item, it becomes an amplifier.
Right, and that makes sense because,
in other words, if you're going to make a circle of salt around you, or put a rope, or with a chalk, and you hold with you your amulet or your talisman or a crystal, and you add in that circle a clear quartz. The clear quartz stone is one of the best amplifiers out there. So you're extra protected.
it's good to know. I don't think I've ever thought of quartz that way, and so I have to look into that. But
And
we're actually,
if you want to make it more intense, you can add a clear quartz, a black tourmaline you can have in your lap, a clear quartz, or around you in a triangle, right? In front of you, you can have the clear quartz, which you can use as an amplifier, right? Because you're remote viewing, and you're remote viewing from your third eye. So you've got your amplifier of your clear quartz right in front of you. Behind you, you can have your black tourmaline, which will ground you and protect you. And from your left and your right, you can have two red jasper stones, where red jasper becomes like a net, a golden net that protects you and bounces back anything dark that might come your way. There you go. He's writing it.
I am.
Oh God.
I am writing it because I know me. I'll sit there and try to call in, and I'll be like, "What was that stone again? What was
You'll probably
that again?" Or being at a store and going, she said these three, and what was that one again?"
Yep.
So,
No, anytime, honey. Anytime you need to ask me something, go right ahead.
well, I would love to keep talking, but we're actually over an hour and a half already. I just noticed that. Wow, the time has flown by.
Every time that happens with us, every time. So I'll probably jump into another episode soon, and you can play the other videos as well,
Yes, we'll have to say those for next time, but I'm glad we got the one promotional video out.
Yep, no, that's good. That's good. It was great talking to you. Time flew so fast. We covered quite a few things.
We did, and who knows, we may have you on soon again, and
I would love to. It's always fun.
It is, and so if people wanted to do a reading or needed help with anything, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, they can send me a message on Facebook, on Kathrine Dione Sorilos. Dione is actually my ancient Greek name. I was given my ancient Greek name. I'll talk about that in another time. So it's like a high priestess name.
I like it, and that's why I added it, because I was like, this is new. I got to add this.
It's my ancient Greek name. So they can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram. On my page, which is Kathrine Dione Sorilos by Oracle and Oracle Whispers. So they can find me anywhere.
Very cool, and the links to find her are also in the description. So if you didn't get a chance to write those down really quick, I did grab them for you, so you can go in the description and copy and paste them. But thank you so much, Kathrine, for getting up early and joining us on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. I want to say hello to a lot of my Greek friends. A lot of Greek people have jumped onto the show. I want to say kalimera, which means good morning in Greek. And I hope everybody, and thank you everybody for watching, and thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you have a great night as well.
Thank you, and I want to thank the audience from Greece from chiming in and participating. That was really cool, and I appreciate you all watching. And I am not even going to attempt to say good morning in Greek because I know I'm going to butcher it. So
you've got it. Got it. I just say it's kalimera.
Kalimera?
There you go. Kali, which means good. Mera, which means day. Kalimera.
Who knew? Kalimera. That's good. That actually kind of rolls off the tongue.
See, everybody says here, Kalimera from Greece. There you go.
That's Kalimera? Wow. I think I'm going to stick to English.
Oh, well. Okay, great. No, it was awesome. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you to everyone, and keep watching because you never know when Kathrine's going to pop back in. So thank you to everyone. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. Fill it with love and joy. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Talk to you soon, hon. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.